have for us this week? Me and
Uh,
Candy will hang with you while you talk because you don't have a lot of time tonight. So
yeah. Well, the tips that I got, I think a lot of kids get caught up in the recruiting process, and they think it just has to deal with, when you're the immediate part where you're getting courted by the coach, and it goes so much deeper than that. So some of the tips that I have, it goes back, things that are not pertaining to that.
okay. Well, why don't you go ahead? We're going to leave you and let you go ahead and do your thing. And if we can get Coach Mark back, we will. But why don't you go ahead and enlighten us? Coach James Kelly, the third part of the team here at the Expect to Win experience. Oh, I took you out.
All right, this tips that we have this week, we're talking about a lot of things that go beyond just the recruiting process in general when you're in communication with the coach. Number one, things that you need to do off and away from everything that you got going is learn how to communicate with people. Basketball and all other sports deal with relationships that go back and forth between coaches and also their players. So in the recruiting process, that's the time that they actually get to know you. So there's some people out there that know how to talk and some people that don't. And when a coach is recruiting a kid, they don't want to be one-sided. They want to be able to talk to you and get to know you as a person, not just a player and an athlete. So, with that, you guys as student athletes, you're always communicating with people 24/7 with cell phones and things of that nature. Learn how to communicate correctly and appropriately with adults and also coaches. That's your first tip. The second one is to make sure that you get your grades. Grades go way beyond and away from anything that you do in your sport. Of course, your official transcript begins in grade 9 and in your freshman year, and they stay with you for the rest of your life. So, if you're wanting to get recruited by colleges, obviously any grade point average that is 4.0 or above is desirable. And yes, it is possible to get above a 4.0. Um, the higher grade point average you get, the better because it allows the school to give you more money, which obviously you want that as an athlete so that you don't have to come out of pocket to pay for those things. So in order to attain those grade point averages, you have to do work away from the field, away from the gym, and you have to be disciplined enough to get those things done. The third thing is to create and develop a work ethic. In your conversations with your coaches, you're always going to be, as you get to know each other, they're going to ask you some things about what you do every day. And some people will put up videos and things of that nature of them working out and stuff like that, but it may be just, don't be fake about it. If you really work out every day, if you get up every day at 6 a.m. and you do have a workout, you have a shooting workout, or if you do batting practice or whatever it is, develop that work ethic because that's what separates you from anything or any other individuals that are also competing. All of those small things that are going to allow you to get better as a player and regardless of what sport you're in, it becomes minute a lot of times with coaches and what players they like, what players they don't like. Sometimes players fit the same mold, and it comes down to really small, minute differences. And those work ethics that you develop are really going to be separators when you perform in your particular sport, either on the field or on the floor. So with that being said, you carry that work ethic into your games. And in your games, it is very, very, very important for you to make sure that you carry yourself with the proper character on the floor. There, you have the correct body language. Body language is really key for basketball coaches. They're always watching how you're reacting because swings can happen in a game, and what is your response to those things. They're watching you when you're on the bench. Are you engaged in the game? Are you cheering on your teammates? Do you cry about every call? If you Are you hustling on the floor? Are you hustling off the floor? Are you paying attention in the huddles? Are you clowning around? Things of that nature. So make sure that your body language, especially in games, because those times, especially it goes into highlight tapes, those responses are recorded and you cannot lie in a highlight tape or in a game film. So make sure, even if it gets past a highlight film and coaches ask for a full game film, all of those responses and your body language is going to show. Uh, the last tip that we'll say today is that for any schools who reach out, there has to be a mutual interest. First of all, if you are not interested in a particular school, make sure you let the coach know, so that they know that they can go and find another athlete, that and they're not stuck or feel slighted, or no one likes to be left on red. Communicate with that coach, let them know. Before you do that, though, the tip here is research the school, research the coach, research their record, research the history of the school. You may like things that you didn't expect from a coach or a school that reaches out. So make sure you do research. They're researching you, I promise. The first thing that they're going to do is look up your social media and see what your image is like, and your grades and stuff like that. You need to be the exact same on the other end and research the school so that you can know where you're going and what you're looking at. Online, they have virtual tours, and you can look at the dorm rooms and the facilities and things like that. So make sure you're doing your homework on your end, so that you can separate yourself, because when a coach is talking to you and you start bringing up things about their school, and that shows interest, and it can also help you to attain that scholarship. And that's our tip for this week.
All right, Coach. I want to ask you a question. Um, that was awesome as always. Uh, you said something that really I think bears repeating when you said to about the work ethic and to pretty much start now doing what's going to be necessary for you to excel. A lot of young people, they're just coming out of the COVID. A lot of young people struggled in school. And I'm going to bring Candy in on this also. A lot of young people struggled in school and all of that. What do you say to those young people that are, they trying to get back in the groove and get back into working out? And these kids have been in the bed, doing work and schoolwork, and now it's like, okay, I'm supposed to get up and actually do some physical work. uh, I know it sounds good in theory to say, okay, do it, but what do you say to the kid that's struggling to get motivated to get back out and start doing it?
Well, first of all, there's another separator actually that you bring it up is self motivation is huge, because that self motivation is going to allow you to perform. And the reason why I say that is this: because I'm a coach, I go way deeper into a lot of things than the average person will. So I learned about how habits are formed, how to break habits, and how to develop new habits, because you know it takes anywhere from 21 days to 90 days to end a habit, input a new habit, and then also kick it into automatic. Then there's things that we do subconsciously. About 95% of what you do every day is repeated thoughts or repeated actions, and you don't do it. That's why some people will go on a diet, but then they'll end up going to McDonald's and picking the same thing that they pick all the time because it's a subconscious
Yeah.
habit, even though they want to go on a diet. That applies to your athletics also. So what I teach to my kids is when we're working out, what you're doing, it has to be done, number one, at a high speed, just like in a game, because you're going to perform that. And a lot of kids will just go through workouts thinking, oh, I'm just working out, I'm just practicing. Those things that you do in those workouts actually becomes what you do in a game off of reaction. So that's why sometimes people get tired and bored with workouts, but those are what become your reactions in a game. And the best way to be the best athlete is to react off of what you see or what's happening versus having to think and create and things of that nature. If you've done a repeated motion so many times over and over and over and over and over, when it gets in a game, it happens instantaneously like that. You've done your move and you finish at the basket, and you did that without thinking. Your body just takes over. So you're training your body to become a machine, and not necessarily a robot, but a machine, in where a trigger happens and the response happens, and you become a top performing athlete because of the work ethic and the work that you put in when nobody was in the gym. And that's the key that I'm talking about whenever I speak on those things.
All right. Awesome. Awesome advice, Coach Kelly. Awesome. Anything you wanted to add, Candy?
No, I think you said everything.
Yeah, that was excellent. That
Yeah,
was excellent.
absolutely. Great tips. I think discipline has a lot to do with it as well. I mean, if you really want to succeed and excel in your sport, you got to stay on your game and stay focused on that. So, yeah, great information.
I want to interject. Braylon Owens is one of those kids. He stays in the gym
Awesome.
when he's not doing things and helping people. He does fundraising for his own team, his AAU team. He cooks for people in the community, and when
Wow.
he's not doing those things, he goes straight to the gym. Luckily, he lives right by the gym. The gym where we live at is open until midnight every day because the kids respect the gym and the
Mhm.
facilities. He stays in the gym, and he like you said, he was a defender because of his size and his athletic ability. Because he stays in the gym so much, he's now a top prospect not only in Oklahoma, but rising to some of the better teams that are in the state, and also on his team. He's the number one guy, and it's because he stays in the gym and he works and works and works and works and works, and it's a tireless work ethic that he had. And he started that early. I'm sure his dad has encouraged him to do that, and he is reaping the benefits early. And it's because of that work ethic that he has.
Well,
Wow,
that is awesome.
it is. And now, we'll deal with that. I have something I want to share with you or propose to you, Coach Kelly, because in my mind, I'm hearing what you're saying, and I agree. But I'm also thinking, is it that different for a kid in Oklahoma as opposed to a kid in Los Angeles? There's a whole lot more to do, and there's more distractions in Los Angeles than
Yeah.
there are in Oklahoma. I can see staying in the gym, all of the time in Oklahoma, but kids are not staying in the gym. Even those that are like top level athletes here in LA, they're not doing that. So that I think that's something I would like to see. Some self motivation tips. How these kids can be motivated and block out the distractions, because I know that's an issue here in LA.
I'll just say quickly to interject to that. That's where the 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. workouts come when everybody else is still asleep, and you haven't done anything during the day. Everybody else is still in the bed doing whatever, and you're up working on your craft when nobody else is. That's self motivation. That's self discipline. That's putting in your time. Now the key to that is what type of, we always talk about what, it's not just time in the gym, it's quality time in the gym. When you get up and you're in that gym, you don't need to just be shooting around and not breaking a sweat being there 2 hours. You need to be working on game speed
Mhm.
stuff. That includes, even in football, are you doing things that in the proper rhythm and the proper cadence? Are you working on those explosive moves that you would be doing in a game? That is huge. It's huge, and obviously you don't want to overtrain yourself. But if you can pick a time of the day that those distractions that you're talking about are not, because it's early in the morning, then do that. Whatever.
Right.
You're just picking a different time of the day. You're still putting in your work, and it doesn't have to be all day. I always tell my kids, I'd rather you go in the gym and shoot 30 minutes, 300 game speed shots, and that is possible to do that. We got a thing called the gun. Rather than be in the gym 3 hours and never break a sweat, go in there for 30 minutes before school, and from 6 to 6:30, and work on your shot. And then at 6:30 comes, go back to the dorms because we live in a boarding school. Take your shower and be ready to go and go get breakfast and everything. By 8 o'clock, you're back. You're in class and you've done what you need to do for the day.
Well, it's awesome words of advice, Coach Kelly, and I think the irony is the shirt that I'm wearing tonight, if you
Yeah,
can see it, you know, is somebody that lived by those words that you talked about.
Exactly.
absolutely.
I have a friend that she used to run Carl's Jr. franchises all over California and out in Newport Beach where Kobe lived. She said Kobe would come into Carl's Jr. at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you
Mm.
know, getting something because he's working out. He wasn't getting burgers and all of that stuff, but whatever he's getting, he's working out at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, and
So
he switched to what they call that metaphasic sleep schedule, where he only took 2 naps a day of about 20 to 30 minutes and actually only slept 2 to 4 hours a day so that he could work. And then the second thing about that is he repeated the same motion over and over and over and over and over. And never got tired of it, and it became a reaction in the game that you
wow.
see where he's.
Well,
Wow.
Coach Kelly froze on. I don't know what happened. Well, awesome work. Can you hear us, Coach?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. Awesome words. Awesome words. And thank you, Coach. We're gonna bring Coach Mark in, and